Let's just go through the beats. You were born in Africa.
Somalia.
Right? Somalia, okay. You have come from a Muslim family, and you had a lot of journeys, but basically the one that got you to Holland, which is where you went, it was because you were escaping
An arranged marriage.
an arranged marriage. You didn't want to marry the guy your father picked out for you.
Yes, and
Probably
I wasn't
because he
ready.
was an old goat.
Oh no, he wasn't that old. He was only 27, but I didn't want to become an old goat.
Right. Okay. So you went to Holland, the land of freedom, where we know you can smoke hash in church.
Yes. That's not fair.
And Janet Jackson's nipple is on the flag. That's Holland.
This is not about fair.
Okay.
It is?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
So,
It isn't.
It's not.
and once you were in Holland, you were a member of the parliament, you got involved in trying to educate other Muslim women there, right?
Yes.
That they could be free in a way they probably hadn't thought about it. And you participated in a short film by a man named Theo Van Gogh, which was critical of Muslim oppression of women. That director, Theo Van Gogh, for his trouble, got killed
Yes.
for it by some Muslim who didn't like it. Stabbed in the street, and then the knife that was in his chest
Yes.
was a death threat to you.
Yes.
And Stephen Weber, you're on Studio 60 on
That's right. That's right.
How's that go?
I'm in the why the fuck is he here chair. That's right.
All right.
Every
So I
so
just
often
want
they
people
throw
to
me
know
in.
your story,
Yeah, thanks
because
for that.
she's an extraordinary person and a real hero to me and a lot of other people. Okay, but you said, is Islam a religion of peace? You are one of the brave people who says it's not really a religion of peace.
It's not a religion of peace, and immediately after 9/11, they should have said it's not a religion of peace. We are up against Islam. 17 or 16 men out of 19 of the attackers came from Saudi Arabia, and we have to face Saudi Arabia. But instead, we went to Afghanistan.
And we could broaden it out from Saudi Arabia.
But I mean, but don't those people represent a more extremist view of Islam? You know, I mean, aren't religions at first? Aren't they supposed to appeal to people's moderate tastes, moderate instincts,
Well, they're
in order
supposed
to
to, but
win
they
them
don't.
over?
No,
And then,
they're not all
and then aren't
alike.
they then co-opted
But that's
by extremist, by
No,
radical extremists?
It was extremist to begin with.
Yes.
Muhammad was a warrior.
Yes.
The big lie is that all religions are basically alike. They all preach the same thing. Well, of course, the Bible is full of a lot of violence. I mean, God in the Old Testament is a psychopath. He just kills, kills for no reason, good reasons, bad reasons. He's jealous. He just wants to kill. He is. He's the rifleman. But he doesn't seem to aim it so much at outsiders. You know, he wipes out the Jews except for Noah because they were bad to him or whatever. But he doesn't keep saying, in the Quran, it seems to me, I don't read Arabic, but it seems to me...
You should learn?
Do you?
No.
But your family's from Lebanon. You must know a little.
A little.
Okay. It seems to me that in the Quran, God keeps saying, if you're not one of us, you're an infidel, and burning would be too good for you.
So there are no moderate Muslims?
No.
Oh, no.
But you
We're
should
not
make
saying
no.
that.
What we should do is we should make a clear distinction between Islam as a set of beliefs, as we have done in the past in the West. Christianity was seen to be a set of beliefs. Communism was seen to be a set of beliefs. But then Muslims are adherents, and we can appeal to them. We can appeal to their common sense, and we can tell them, listen, as a Muslim, these are some of the fundamentals of your religion that are compatible with democracy and with liberalism, and we have no issue with that. But here are a number of principles within your religion that we simply cannot turn. I mean, if you declare war on us, bin Laden is doing that. He's using the Quran and the guidance of the Prophet Muhammad to declare war. He is gathering a constituency. He is growing big. And so it is legitimate to tell Muslims, whether you view your religion as peace or not, this is how your religion is being used, and it's much better to get worked up about beheading people in the name of Islam than about drawing the Prophet Muhammad in a cartoon.
And they still whack people. You know, every religion has elements in it that are very mafia-like. Godfather 3, a movie I liked, nobody else did, but I thought it was a good movie, was about how the Catholic Church, you know, is very much like Michael Corleone's mob family. But the Catholic Church has calmed down a lot since the 14th century. But, you know, there's a death threat on you. There's a death threat on people in your country that still speak. There's a death threat on Salman Rushdie. They still whack people in Islam. It's still a lot about, if you don't agree with me, we'll settle it by getting whacked.
It's bizarre that we're living in a time where we hear a lot about beheadings and torture. I never
We
thought
don't hear it, we see it.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You know, Bill, one of the problems we have as Americans is, in my opinion, having traveled the region a little bit, is that we try to say Muslims as though it was one place. If you go to the Palestinian territories, the one thing you'll see is that for over 1,000 years, Christians and Muslims have lived side by side. Their churches and their mosques are next to each other. So we can talk about radical Islam, but you see no evidence of it there. You go to Ethiopia, where you have some of the oldest Christians in the world, and Muslims. They have a lot of problems in Ethiopia. We'll go endless on the problems in Ethiopia. I mean, except that they look down on Somalia for their problems. But there's no question that religious tolerance of the two living side by side has not been about extremism, convert or you'll die.
I just simply don't agree with that.
Well, unfortunately, 1,000-year-old churches don't lie.
Let me tell you something. It was always fine as long as Christians and Jews would accept an inferior position as dhimmis and as a minority, and they would pay their extra taxes and so on. They could have their synagogues, they could have their churches, that was all fine. But now that Israel Jews have come as you know, an independent state and they control their own strip of land, then that's no longer acceptable. And I think if we talk in terms of history, I think it would be fair to just tell things as they are. Yes, there was no Holocaust in the Middle East as there was in Germany, but there was the suppression of the dhimmis, Christian and Jewish minorities in the Middle East. Let's tell the story as it is.
That's it, baby. Keep it real. Tell it like it is. And far be it from me to paint any group of people with a broad brush, but I would say that people from the Middle East are a little more passionate than, say, the Swiss. And are there any Christian fundamentalists here tonight? No? Because, you know, I have been defending the Christian fundamentalists because it really bothers me when people compare their fundamentalists with ours. I hear it all the time. You know, we have extremists too. Yeah, but this is a great country because ours are just funny. The worst ours can do is, like, you know, identify the gay Teletubby. That's like, it's purple! It's purple! You're purple, gay, hello! Your kids are seeing a gay... You know, whereas in Saudi Arabia, you know, our ally... In Saudi Arabia, on Friday nights, they have beheadings for such crimes as homosexuality, or adultery, or being an infidel, or not rewinding, or whatever. So yes, Jerry Falwell and Pat Robertson are morons who think homosexuals are going to burn in hell, but they're not suggesting that we go over to Richard Simmons' house and cut off his head. I'm suggesting it. In fact, I'm insisting on it now. Now, I think Western civilization is more enlightened precisely because we have learned how to ignore our religious leaders. You know, every religious leader says things. You know, when one of their ayatollahs issues a falafel, they do it. We don't follow it. I mean, the Pope says a lot of things. No premarital sex. Thank you very much. Charming. You are a charmer. Thank you. Hey, kids, get in here. Look, it's the Pope. Oh, it's like seeing an albino tiger in the wild. How much longer will you be able to see that? The Pope. No masturbation. He's doing all his greatest hits. Look at that. Thank you. You're a fabulous Catholic celebrity. Now go back to the castle. Sometimes people say to me, Bill, you're prejudiced against the Muslims. No, I promise you I am not. Prejudice comes from prejudge. I am not prejudging. I am judging. Yes, I am judging that if your TGIF is beheadings and getting stoned in your country is a bad thing, then yes, you're bringing up the rear civilization-wise. You need an enlightenment. You need a reformation. You need something. I don't feel bad for those 300 killers we got down in Guantanamo Bay, always crabbing about how we don't respect their religious practices. You know what? You lost. Eat what we eat. Here's a cheese-filled sausage. Enjoy. You don't like that? Just eat the bun. You don't like that? Don't eat anything. You won't be missed. I would also say to them that if we ever find the body of a suicide attacker, we will bury it wrong. Wrong. With a hooker and a bottle of Jack Daniels. Facing Barney. That's the word. But you have to understand, you have to embrace the values of Western civilization. They're not just different. They are better. Okay? I know a whole generation has been raised on the notion of multiculturalism. That all civilizations are just different. No, not always. Sometimes things are better. Rule of law is better than autocracy and theocracy. Equality of the sexes, better. Protection of minorities, better. Free speech, better. Free elections, better. Free appliances with large purchases, better. Don't get so tolerant that you tolerate intolerance. Remember what happened to Salman Rushdie? He wrote a book, it got mixed reviews. Some people liked it, some people wanted his head on a stick. No one should have to die for writing a book, with the exception of the bridges in Madison County. I will